tuning in to Mental Massage. We feel that not enough people speak out about mental health. That's exactly why we chose to focus on that. Hey you guys, welcome to another episode of Mental Massage. We're here on episode 4 with the oh so beautiful and talented Miss
Amanda J, aka BlueJay. That's what everyone's been calling me, so I'm elated. I'm an artist here in Orlando, and I'm just blessed to be on the show with you guys.
Thank you for coming. It's a blessing to have you here. We've been following her on Instagram. She's been very open on social media about the things that she's been through, and it's very strong of you to be able to open up like that. So for our followers that don't follow you already and the people out there, tell us a little bit about your story.
Oh gosh. So to try to keep it short, I come from New York, and I don't have my parents. I have a bunch of sisters that I don't have a relationship with, but I don't really have a family foundation. And so I've really been blessed enough to just dig deep into my friendships, but it's affected me my entire life to not have either one of my parents, because you're supposed to start off your entire life with that connection with your mom or your father. And for me to kind of be lacking both of them, it's been a struggle. So music has been a blessing for me.
Thank you. Also, on top of like having to be by yourself at such a young age, how do you feel that has affected your mental health after that?
It made me question every relationship that I ever had, whether it was with friends, whether it was business, whether it was within romantic relationships. It makes it hard to trust that people really care about you. And people joke about it, but it's not a joke for you to call something like mommy or daddy issues. It's real. It's real for you to really consider if somebody, like, every step of the way, whether or not they're really down for you and they're loyal to you. And when you've been through something like that, either one of two things happen. Either you get really savage and, like, heartless and you don't care how other people feel with how you treat them, or you dig deep and you try to love everyone passionately and you wear your heart out on a sleeve. And that's just been me. A lot of people didn't know how to accept it. A lot of people kind of feel that and they, like, get taken back by that. And so it's affected everything in my life, and I'm still learning on how to accept that myself and realize that other people haven't been through what I've been through, so they don't love the way that I love. They don't think the way that I think, and everything kind of changes and shifts from that point. And it takes time. It's sad, but people have to learn what I've been through before they understand why I am the way I am.
Of course. Within saying that, you kind of answered like the next question that I had for you, but honestly, a lot of people who would have went through that, you could say that maybe they would have given up. So what was your push to keep you going, to keep you positive?
Oh boy. So again, I do have 7 sisters, and not to knock them or anything, but we've all had different experiences, and I'm a firm believer that everybody deals with things differently. In which case, 2 of my sisters went down the path of doing drugs and kind of looking for love the wrong way. They all have kids. So me being the only one without kids, I feel like I defeated the statistic of, like, my mom used to tell me all the time I was going to be pregnant. I wouldn't add up to anything. So I'm just a firm believer that it really is a choice for you to make. And for me, it was like, I guess I was just so angry that my anger turned into ambition. And I'm also a firm believer that God found me at the right time, right where I was going to be angry and I wanted to give up and I was suicidal. It was like it wasn't my time to go. And I heard a voice and I didn't know what it was, but it was just like, no, like, you're meant to help other people get through things. And then at that point in time, I was like, I'm still not through it. I was angry. I was like, I don't want to be somebody that's an example. Like, help me out of my situation because I don't want to deal with it anymore.
Yeah.
And,
It's okay. It's a vulnerable conversation, so it's okay to get the emotions out.
When you're told on a daily basis that you're not worth anything, and then you hear that the only thing you can follow is that you have a purpose. And so once I got out of my mom's house, I'm talking like I dug deep into my studies, because it was like anything that I could in order to mentally get away, like reading books and just focusing on school is what got me through. And then my grandmother, I don't want to say that I was lacking someone that loves me my entire life, but it's different when it's not the person that spent 9 months holding you.
Yeah.
And so my grandmother, I will kill for her. Like, she saved me from my situation. She spent her entire life raising her daughter's kids and feeling that her daughter, she didn't know where she went wrong. And so I feel for her in that situation as well, where she's like, my other kids aren't like this. Like, what happened with my daughter where she decided to do drugs and do the things that she did and treat her kids that way. So really, I feel like it was my push to look at her and just be like, I had to be her third child. I had to take that place. Because I also have my mother's name. I'm the only one out of my mother gave me her name as my middle name and her last name. I'm the only one out of my sisters that doesn't have my father's last name.
Wow. So
it was just weird that she hated me so much, but she gave a part of me, you know what I mean, of herself to me.
Because I'm sure at that same time she was trying to heal as well. So
right.
You were filling that void for her.
Correct.
That relationship that she didn't have with her own daughter.
Correct. So I kind of feel like that's where it went. And that was where my purpose came from. That's what stood me up for my situation.
It's a beautiful thing, and thank you. I know, like, people hate to, like, get emotional in front of people, but it's okay. You know what I'm saying? It's a release. You feel better after it. And a lot of people are gonna, yeah, I know. And you are very strong. Like, your story is very different from the other stories that we've heard from the people that we had on the show already. But I definitely wanted to showcase this because there's other people out there that feel like they can't talk about it or are going through the same thing and they can't find their way out. So for those people, what would you say to them as some words of encouragement to maybe help
I feel
them?
like there's something strong inside of you that makes you want to continue living. And for me, it was music. It was starting out, and even though I couldn't go out and pursue my dreams, I never even thought it was possible to write my own music and get into a studio until I was like 16 or 17 years old. But prior to that, I was the person in chorus that was pushing harder to learn every song. Even in youth group, because I did, like I said, after I felt like God found me, I did fight my grandmother to go and get into church, and I was able to lead praise and worship. So really, you need to find the thing that makes you happy and something that you can lose sight of whatever the world is putting on your shoulders and just release in that way. Because for a lot of time, and the reason why I got open with my story was because I was hiding from it for so long. You know what I mean? I've been doing music for 10 years, and just this year is where I started to talk about what I've been through, because I started volunteering, a couple of years ago for like Boys and Girls Club as a big sister, and I would have these one-on-one conversations with kids, and I would be able to connect with them on a different level, and I would mentor foster care, kids, and I wanted to be at one point like a guardian ad litem to speak on behalf of kids like myself, and I always did stuff like that, and then I was like, what's lacking in my music is that maybe people can't connect with that part of me. And I feel like we live in a world where you have to be perfect, where you have to have your shit together, where, excuse my language.
No, it's okay. Social media does that.
Facts. But really, it just makes you put this into perspective that everything's cool, I'm calm, I'm collected, I have my stuff together. But even myself, it was like I was, struggling. Like last year at this time, even when you guys had first met me, is when I was first dealing with that situation that I had been going through. And I felt like a lot of people weren't accepting me, coming to a city by myself, not knowing what was going to happen with my bills because I didn't have a job, not knowing where I fit in, like it weighed on me. But the only thing that kept me pushing was knowing what I was meant for and knowing that I was given a gift and that God gave it to me to do something with. And it's not up to me to find out what it is. It's just to use it, and from there it's going to happen. Because I didn't know all this was going to come a year later. If anyone would have told me, oh, you're going to go to Orlando, a year later, you're going to be doing this showcase, you're going to be doing that, you're going to be working out of studio, I wouldn't have believed it. Because I would have been like, okay. Like my whole life, I was working a full-time job, and then I was in the studios at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I didn't know what I was going to do with it. It just happened because I just kept pushing for what I knew God gave to me. And so whether you believe in God or not, whatever your purpose is, it talks to you. Because when I wasn't doing music, I knew I was depressed. I knew I wasn't happy, and I wasn't myself. So it spoke to me like, you miss the studio. You miss being on stage. You miss writing. And you miss talking to people. So why aren't you doing it?
Exactly. And I feel like sometimes, like, we doubt ourselves and doubt the things that we can do. And it just takes literally what you said, doing those steps, taking that first step
scary.
Towards it.
It's scary because uncertainty nowadays, people think that everything's a cookie cutter expectation that you're going to know what's going to happen, especially with like entrepreneurship bringing so much light on being your own boss. People think it's like, oh, start a business, tell people about it, people are going to support it. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
Because I did that prior to this. It's really just having that extreme belief and that radical faith in yourself that you're capable and strong enough to deliver it regardless of who's looking at you. And I don't know if maybe me going through what I did, it helps me better to not look around for people's exception of me, for people to want to be like, okay, she's cool. Like, I never cared after that. You know what I mean? Like, once your mom don't care about you, it's like, I don't care who likes me at this point. I'm doing what makes me happy, because that was that. And so maybe that was a blessing in disguise in certain aspects, where I'm able to take a leap of faith because I don't check for what people want me to do. To this day, my grandmother's still like, why did you move to Orlando where nobody else is? Yeah. Like, she fought me on it, but I was strong enough to say, because I'm not happy where I am and I need to take a leap of faith, you have to be willing to do that.
Did that take a toll on your relationship with her moving over here?
Not in a negative manner. I definitely know that, like, she misses me and I miss her. And it's hard to explain, because the thing is, my grandmother is, like, she has her life. You know what I mean? It was time for me, whether it was with music or anything else, it was going to happen. You know, it's just like kids when they go off to college. You're going to be in a situation where you have to leave the nest and you have to build your life. And that's what I have to do now, so that my kids don't go through what I went through, so that my kids don't have the situation that I have. I want to be able to tell my kids no because they don't deserve it, not because I can't provide it. You know what I'm saying? There's a difference. I don't ever want to look at them and be like, you deserve everything, but I just don't have it here. You know, and I've seen that look in my grandmother's eyes, where it wasn't her responsibility to raise me, you know, to feed me, clothe me, and the state was hardly giving her any help because technically I wasn't hers and I wasn't adjudicated. All of these guidelines that she had to get around, like looking at her trying to struggle and take care of me and my sisters, because my mom has 6 kids. Like, she literally at one point had custody of all of us at some point or another. And she gave her last for that. And that's why I'm like, because I have to get through this to give her back what, you know, everything that she gave to me. And I want to be settled for my kids.
I love that. I can definitely relate to that, just because I was going through, like, the same thing as far as, like, I feel like kids who don't have their parents in their corner, it just motivates them more to not be that for the next generation. So thank you for that. Just to lighten up the questions a little bit, we'll switch it up, lighten up the mood. What are, like, 3 songs you say you would, like, go to whenever you're dealing with mental health issues?
Whew. I'm real deep, but one song that really resonated with me when I was going through everything was Runaway Love by Ludacris and Mary J. Blige.
Oh, that was a really
when
good song.
I heard that song the first time, I was living in that situation in certain circumstances, and I cried out.
The visuals to it was very powerful, too.
Facts. So the biggest thing was like, okay, hold on. I'm not the only one. You know what I mean? It was like confirmation. Other kids are going through it, and it was resonating, okay, I can get through it. It wasn't like my situation was special. It was like, unfortunately, other kids are going through it, but if they made through it, oh, I can do it. You know what I mean? So that was just one of them. Any Mary J. Blige song, I was big on, like Mariah Carey, you know, things like that. It wasn't any specific song. It was more so the artist, watching how their process was, and just being able to see people like myself that looked like me, that felt like I did, but even still it was like they were successful in their situation. So it was never just the lyrics of the song itself. It was more like they're in pain, but they're doing something with that pain. And that's when I realized that music was a therapy, that in a language, like that even if I couldn't talk about my problems, I could write about them. And I could sing about them, and somebody would hear me, and it would matter, but it wasn't like I was talking about my business and I was going to get my ass whooped for it. It was like, you know, like my teachers knew that there was something going on because my poetry and my songwriting would speak for me. But they would never be like, oh, baby, what's going on at home? You know what I mean? It was like they would treat me a little different, you know. Sometimes they would bring in clothes because my mom would give me hand-me-downs or whatever. They would, like, bring in things and be like, here, wear this. And then I realized that there were certain things that were going on around me that people were trying to help me, but they didn't want to make it obvious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was crazy, because now coming to grips and terms with it, really, music has really been the reason to get here. So I can't stop.
Music is life.
Yes, it is. It really is.
Okay. All right, thank you guys. That concludes another episode of Mental Massage. Thank you so much, Amanda J, for staying here with us and being so open and honest with your feelings. You really painted that picture for us, so we appreciate it. Please let everybody know where they can follow you at, what new music you have on the way. What's up?
So they got a little sneak preview before the session today, but I am working on an LP, so it's going to be 7 or 8 songs. I'm still determining where it's going to be at. I'm really just letting my heart go with this album and kind of seeing, you know, what my sound is going to be. You can follow me on Instagram at BlueJay Sings, BlueJaysings. And I do actually have a couple shows coming up. I'm performing at the Culture Festival, so that's going to be almost like Super, which was really huge, by the way. So I'm excited to be on this festival since I missed the last one. That was going to be March 14th, and I'll put all the information for you guys. Other than that, I may actually be international this year as well, right after my birthday in Amsterdam, performing for a really huge hip-hop R&B festival there.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, so these are some of the bigger stages that I'm going to be on, and I'm really, really excited. But also, don't be afraid if you have questions, if you want to talk about your story and you're not as open as I am, that's okay. It takes time. You can reach out to me personally. I do specialize in praying for people because that's where my beliefs are. But even if you want to take God out of the equation and you just want somebody that'll listen to you, feel free to hit my DMs. I'm excited for everything, though.
Yes, thank you. 2020, you never know what's next. So stay on the grind. And you already know, follow us. Link is in our bio for the episode. Make sure you subscribe, comment, and reshare. All right. Bye.
One who stays on my side 'cause he's down for the ride. That's the love I really need. You